Hi there, and welcome to The Lifted Lens, where strategy meets soul, helping motherhood and family photographers build a business that fits their life, not the other way around. So, I wanted to talk today about imposter syndrome, because honestly, I don't think it's something that ever fully goes away. I think we just get a little bit better at recognizing it for what it is. It's that feeling of, I don't know if I'm good enough to be here. Someone's going to realize that I'm just winging it. Everybody else seems far more confident and more established or more professional than me. And the funny thing is that you can feel that at the exact same time, but whilst also building something really successful. For me, imposter syndrome shows up in really specific moments. It shows up when I'm going to events with other photographers. Even now, even years after being in business, there's still a little voice sometimes that just is sort of in the back of my head saying, do I belong here? Am I as good as everybody else? Do I deserve to be here? Or did I just get lucky? Am I as professional as all these other photographers? Are they further along than me? It shows up, it showed up massively also when I started the education side of my business. Like, in my head, I just thought, who am I to be teaching this? And who am I to help these other photographers to grow? This is the kind of thoughts that are always in the back of our head. Honestly, it's showing up right now with doing this podcast, putting my voice out there and sharing my opinions and letting people see more of me. It's really vulnerable. And yeah, I have imposter syndrome on a weekly basis, I would say, running my own business. Something changed for me recently where I've started to try and see imposter syndrome as less of a negative, less of a warning sign, but more as a reminder that actually I'm moving forward in my business. And usually it shows up when I'm doing something new, when I'm growing or stretching, and when I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. But when you're fully inside your comfort zone, obviously you don't feel like an imposter, you feel safe, but also you're not going to grow staying inside that comfort zone. Yeah, so this is something I wanted to talk to you about today, because this might be showing up in your business in ways that you wouldn't even necessarily label as imposter syndrome. It could be that you're like putting off raising your prices, which is something I talked about in the last episode. It could be that you're over delivering because you feel like you need to prove yourself and you just want to give the customers all of the images to keep them happy because you're just starting out and you feel that that's what you need to be doing to deliver a good product. It could be that you're comparing yourself to other photographers that are ahead of you. It could be that you, I don't know, maybe feel really awkward when people compliment your work. You could be avoiding being out pushing and putting yourself out there, avoiding telling people that you're a photographer and just saying, oh, it's just a little hobby that I do on the side. Even if you're doing this part-time, it's still not just a hobby. If you are wanting to create a business out of this and you're putting yourself out there and you are, even if you don't have paying clients yet, it's not just a hobby, it's something that you are going to be, that you're working towards. So yeah, just to kind of remember that imposter syndrome sometimes doesn't always look like fear. It can just be in the ways that you're holding yourself back. It can be where you're procrastinating on things. For me, this podcast was something that I have had in my mind for probably a couple of years, but it's something that I've only kind of really pushed myself to create this year. And I think most of last year it was on the back of my mind, but I put it off telling myself that I didn't have the time, but really pretty much just procrastinating because of imposter syndrome, because I thought that nobody wanted to hear from me. I didn't know enough. I wasn't the most successful photographer out there, so it wasn't something for me to do. So I want to talk a little bit about the fear of failure, because sometimes it's not actually a fear of failing, it's actually a fear of success, of succeeding. Because if you are successful, it means that you are going to be more visible, more people are going to see you, You're going to have more customers, which means more people are going to have an opinion on you and your work. You'll be charging more money and you're going to be taken more seriously. But that can feel really scary and quite exposing. Let's have a little think about whether imposter syndrome isn't necessarily proof that you're not ready, but it's proof that you are growing. So you're putting yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone and you're going for your dreams and you're creating things and building a business that in the past you would have just dreamed about. So let's think of imposter syndrome as building something bigger rather than something that's going to hold you back. See it as proof that actually you're on the right track. And that scary feeling of feeling like oh my gosh, like who am I? What am I doing? Putting myself out there. Actually, it's just proof that you're doing exactly what you need to be doing and you're stepping forward. Yeah, it's a positive thing, not a negative. So instead of asking, why do I feel like this? Try and think to yourself, what is this trying to show me? Maybe that this feeling is showing me that I care, that I want to do well, that you're stepping into a new level, that you're expanding your business, and also a reminder that growth isn't always comfortable, growth isn't always pretty, and it can be scary, but growth is still growth. And yeah, I promise you, the photographers that we look up to, they have felt this and they probably still do sometimes, just like me. We just get better at, I think, recognizing the feeling, but still kind of walking forward with that feeling. It's feeling the fear, but doing it anyway, and not kind of expecting that feeling to disappear, but just knowing that it will get easier and that it's proof that you are heading in the right direction. So you don't need to feel 100% confident to move forward. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need to be the most experienced person in the room, and you just need to keep showing up. Even if your voice shakes a little bit, even if you feel like you're winging it, because honestly, most of us are just winging it, but just at different levels. I was winging it when I first started out. I'm winging it now, years down the line. We are all just winging it. But there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's just part of being self-employed, part of being a business owner. And yeah, if you're feeling imposter syndrome at the moment, that there's a very good chance that actually it just means that you're moving forward. You are creating something that you should actually be really proud of. So yeah, I just wanted this podcast to be a little reminder that if you're feeling the scary emotions, that you're not alone, that we have all been there. We all have these feelings, we have these negative thoughts, and yet you're certainly not the first to feel any kind of imposter syndrome. It's probably not going to completely go away and it will just show up in different ways at different times, but to try and see it as proof that you're heading in the right direction. So thank you so much for listening today, and I'd really love it if you are enjoying the Lifted Lens podcast, please to leave me a review. I don't yet have any reviews, so if you could, that would be absolutely amazing, and I would literally be forever grateful. So thank you so much for listening, and please share with your friends, your photographer friends. Share if you're listening to me on social media. That would be just amazing. And thank you so much for giving me your time.